Welcome to class again. I'm still on the videography course, and this is module 4, Mastering Advanced Video Editing, brought to you by KCA Library. In previous modules, we've talked about the do's and don'ts. We've talked about videography equipment and introduction to videography. In this module, I'd be talking to you about how to master the advanced. The whole essence of this course is to get you from a beginner to a pro. So let's just get right straight. In this module content, I'm gonna be having some things to discuss with you, starting with professional editing workflow, editing techniques such as cuts, transitions, and rhythm. Then we'd also talk about audio editing, sound design, music placement, color correction and grading, motion graphics and titles, and of course exporting and optimization. Okay, so advanced video editing is way beyond just cutting and arranging clips. So it involves a whole lot of things. I've said some in the previous slide. To mention again, color correction and sound design, effects, transitions, and storytelling technique. So when you master the skills as an editor, it helps you to shape raw footage into emotionally engaging and visually striking narratives. So let's get right straight into it again. We'll start with the professional editing workflow. Yes, so editing is a structured process, and it's not just about cutting clips. You actually know what you're doing, and you understand that it is a process that is structured, and it begins with importing, cataloging, and organizing media. You are not just putting everything together. Okay, so you're importing the videos, the files, and you're putting them into catalogs, and you're making them arranged. All right, that's the ideal way to do it. Now you must ensure that there is clarity. You must ensure that you're efficient. There is efficiency, and you must see to it that there is also consistent quality. And this is also important for long form videos, films, and complex projects. You know that there are projects that are actually pretty really complex, and projects that are pretty really complex, and they're long form. Yeah. So let's talk about the techniques in editing. You have the transitions, and you have the rhythm, and there are different types. So for the advanced chords, you have the J chords, you have the L chords, you have the match chords, you have the jump chords, and you have cutting on action. So talking about transitions, it affects emotional tone. So you have to use with purpose. You must understand why you're using transition at this point, and you must understand that the type of transition you're using is also telling a story, while rhythm controls pacing, tension, and viewer engagement. We have let's talk about the audio. We have audio editing, sound design, and music placement. Audio is half the viewing experience, and in my previous videos I've talked about that if you have a good video and the audio is bad, you are already denying the viewer or your clients a very you're denying them the pleasure of the amazing experience. So audio is as important as the video. Yeah, so just like it says here that it's half the viewing experience. So what does it include? I mean, this audio editing includes cleaning dialogue, mixing, balancing ambience and effect. So it means that as a videographer, you must also have, basic knowledge of how to make an audio sound good, or what a good audio sound likes, or you want to give it to someone to help you work on that, because you don't want to have noise, you don't want to have distortion, or some words being mumbled and all of that. So it's important that you balance that. And even talking about sound design too, not just audio as in words. So sound design basically has immersion through Foley and atmospheric layers. All right, so Foley is just trying to achieve a sound through using of um, live tools. For instance, maybe you're trying to achieve the sound of an ocean in a movie, all right, and you don't necessarily have to go to an ocean or download online. Maybe you want it to sound live, so you can like pour water in a bowl, or let water rush through a passage or a tunnel, that kind of thing. So you must ensure that everything is perfect, and the placement enhances emotional impact and pacing, because that's the whole reason, actually. Yeah, so moving forward, we'll go to color correction and grading. I've talked about correction before, I'll say it again. So correction is you fixing exposure, you're fixing the white balance and consistency. You're also using waveform, vector scope, and histograms for accuracy. Now, grading too is important, because you have to do creative mode setting using the LUTs and the custom palettes. And of course, color, after all of this, becomes a storytelling tool, because color is as important as every other thing too. So let's move on and talk about motion graphics and title. Yeah. So at this point, this is where you include your titles, your lower thirds, anything you want to pop up in the video, logo reveal, like all of these things when you're watching like a live stream, the footnotes going down, the logo at the top right corner or top left corner, kinetic typography and all of that. So motion graphics too, yeah, it's also a key part that you also have to work on. Keyframes, again, templates, and vector shapes. So you also have to focus on font pairing, very important, timing, style, and brand clarity. Yes, so moving on, just one more slide to go. Exporting and optimization. So it's important that you choose the correct format and bitrate and resolution, because you can have an amazing video, but messing up the format just scatters the whole stuff. And sometimes if you don't choose the correct format, it won't play rightly on the device that they are supposed to play, and you need to know where the video is going. All right, so is it going to be played in a big screen on a cinema, or on a live broadcast, or on social media platforms like YouTube, so that you're doing like maybe like a landscape, or if it's Instagram and TikTok, you might know that okay, you want to do a portrait so that it would look really nice on the screen. Then you have to understand aspect ratios, the 4.3, 16.9, and of course we're talking about resolution too, them 1080 by 1920 and all of those things. Yeah, so you need to really understand that, so that you would have the perfect video for the perfect device and screens. Okay, so understand aspect ratios and delivery specs, and optimize all of this without sacrificing. Yeah, so in conclusion, you don't just want to be a basic videographer, I mean staying at the beginner level. All right, so when you become proficient in advanced editing techniques, it automatically elevates your work to a professional level. and with strong technical ability and artistic vision, you can actually craft cinematic videos that stand out in any industry. So the more you practice, the more editing becomes a creative language you command with ease. Thank you very much.